Okay guys, so the next assessment statement that we need to look at is 2.1.3, which is to be able to define a number of key terms. So these are all the key terms that you need to be able to recognize and be able to define. And we're going to go through them in a moment. I've also attached this YouTube link down in the description to watch another video associated with key terms of the ventilatory system. So the first one, pulmonary ventilation, is the inflow and outflow of air between the atmosphere and the lungs. It's just a complicated way of saying breathing. Total lung capacity is the volume of air in the lungs after a maximum inhalation. Tidal volume is the volume of air breathed in and out in any one breath during normal breathing. Emphasis on normal breathing. So tidal volume is just the majority of the time when you're breathing normally. Vital capacity is the maximum volume of air that can be exhaled, so breathed out, after a maximum inhalation. So take a big deep breath in and then expel as much air out as you can. That is your vital capacity. Your expiratory reserve volume. So it's the volume of air in excess of the tidal volume, so normal breathing, that can be exhaled forcibly. So it's above the normal breathing that you can breathe out with a forcible breath. The opposite of that, the inspiratory reserve volume, is the amount of air that you can breathe in above tidal volume. Residual volume. So this is the volume of air that is still left in the lungs after a maximal exhalation. So even after you breathe out your vital capacity, there is always a small amount of air left in the lungs, and that's to make sure that your lungs remain inflated and don't collapse. Okay, so what I would like you to do, please, a little challenge for you, is pause the video, draw this diagram, and then use the definitions that we've just looked at in the video to try and label this diagram. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video in order to draw this, and then look back through the video at the definitions to try and label your diagram. Okay, so hopefully you've now labeled your diagram, and now we're going to have a look at the answers, see if we got it right. So as we can see on the diagram, the tidal volume is represented by the small wave in the middle, which is just your normal breathing. Vital capacity, maximal inhale in, and then forcibly breathed out. The residual volume at the bottom is the small amount of air that remains in the lungs to keep the lungs inflated. And the total lung capacity, which you can see on the left, is all the inspiratory reserve volume and residual volume together. Okay, so that's the total lung capacity. Anyway, hope this helps. Good practice. Draw the diagram, relabel it. You can also draw it on whiteboard so you can rub it off. All good practice for your exams. Normally this will appear on a paper 1. So which of these definitions is the tidal volume, A, B, C, or D? It can also show up on paper 2, but it is more common on paper 1. Okay, thanks very much for watching.